always complain that over 20% of my taxes every year are school bonds, and it shouldn't be that way. And when our kids went to school, here's another problem. Our kids went to school, they went parochial school, except when they got into high school. So people keep calling me and ask me, why do I need to pay all these taxes when I'm paying for my kids to go to parochial school? And they've got a good point. They're not using the facility at all. And so that's something that I think they need to overcome too.
They do. And the counter debate I've heard on that is oftentimes you and I went to schools that were paid for by someone else as well. And so to pay it forward to the next generation. So there's definitely debates on both sides of I mean, my high school is still there. I have no idea who paid for that. And my little town certainly can't afford a new one.
Well, when I went to high school, it was tuition, and it wasn't outside money. It was just tuition, and it was expensive. There's no doubt about it. But my parents had enough money to do it, so I always appreciated that.
I think as we grow, there are more and more charter schools. There are more and more private schools, and so oftentimes when it's said, "Well, look at the ratings of these public schools," well, depending on what your interest is, or what direction you want your child to go, or what direction they want to go. Sometimes those private schools or charter schools draw the more education-focused individuals, which are pulling that out of your public school. Public schools may be focused. I don't have any data on that, but I understand where you're coming from on sports and extracurricular activities, of course, with an education on top of it. But when you go into these multi-million-dollar high school football fields, which is very common in the South or East or Midwest,
right?
That certainly can be a point of contention. And you go to a private school and they have a gym that the officials can barely run up and down the sidelines because they have closed that thing off because that's not their priority. So
being a referee, you know well how that happens.
I still volunteer for my community and some officiating, that's for sure. And you can definitely tell the difference in those schools.
Yeah, and we have 2 grandkids that are going to vision school right now. And I'll tell you, the education system, the whole program, the academia and everything is so much different in a public school than what they were used to before. And I think another thing that's lacking is parent participation too. When you go to a vision school, you have to participate as a parent. If you don't, your child doesn't get to go there. Simple as that. And I think our other public schools are lacking that.